Ready to go. All right, well, and welcome everybody to the Centerville City Council meeting being held here on August 5th at Centerville City Hall. Sorry, I apologize for a little late start. We had a work session beforehand and a couple of topics that we had discussed. So, the difference between a work session and City Council is we'll do some votes here in City Council. In a work session, we just discuss things. So, to make sure we can vote, we have a quorum. Let's do a little roll call.
Meekum present.
Summerhays present.
Heyman present.
Plummer present.
And Councilwoman Hirsch should be back shortly. So we do have a quorum present. So thank you, Council, for being here. Thanks staff that's here, and thanks members of the public that are here. Let's begin with the legislative prayer of thought from Councilwoman Robin Meekum.
I'll give a prayer. Our kind Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to be here tonight. We're thankful for all of our many blessings and this free country we live in, and all those that have fought and are fighting to keep us free, and all those that protect us. We're thankful as a group to have been elected and trusted to make wise decisions for our community. We ask you to please be with us, that we will work together, be responsible, and make the decisions that are best for the people we represent. We ask you please to bless all of our first responders and all of those that work for our city to make our lives better, to be protected and blessed. And we say this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, if you'd all rise, repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is the open session. This is a chance for members of the public have a chance to come up to the microphone and express what might be on their minds. Identify yourself, where you're from. Please try and keep your comments to less than 3 minutes. Now, with that said, I should say that you will not need to come forward if you're going to talk about the public hearing on the Millet property. You will not need to come forth right now if you're going to talk about the public hearing on the Porter Lane Estates. Or you will not need to come forth if you're going to talk about the zoning map amendment for the PDO for the Porter Lane Estates. Those are all public hearing matters that the public will have a chance to comment specifically on those. So that would save us some time, since we're going to have dedicated time just for those matters. So, but if there's other things besides that, by all means, we like to have this open session, allow council and staff to see what might be on the public's mind. So that's now available. Nobody online? Okay, seeing nobody coming forth or nobody online, we'll move from the open session and we'll move to the business items. The first item is, like I said, one of those public hearing matters. This is a public hearing zoning map amendment on the Millet property on 2138 North Frontage Road. I don't know if council, you obviously have information in your packet, was sent out Friday, but Sydney, it looks like, are you ready to come forth and give us a little overview on that? Thank you.
Sydney, can you use that mic that's there? I don't know if it's on. Our podium mic is broken at the moment.
Okay.
Awkward, thanks.
So it's your chance to be a superstar and a singer.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so this is the rezone for the Millet property. It is being requested for the zoning map amendment portion located at 2138 North Frontage Road. The subject property right now is currently zoned agriculture low, and the applicant seeks to rezone the proposed Lot 2 in the subdivision of the pending Millet minor subdivision to residential low. The remaining portion that is Lot 1 is going to stay agriculture low, just so then they can continue on with their agriculture use on their property. The Planning Commission held a public hearing and reviewed the request on June 25th, 2025. Following that discussion, they voted unanimously to move forward with a recommendation of approval to the City Council with the condition of the zoning change only take effect upon the approval of the proposed subdivision. No public comments were given prior to the hearing, nor did members of the public attend to give any comments. Basically, to just kind of summarize my the staff report, the applicant, we reviewed the current zoning code, and they met all of the standards. We looked for the residential low as well as the agriculture low, because both lots are going to be in effect. We also made sure that both properties upon the subdivision, due to the rezone, the setbacks were all met, the amount of square footages needed for the buildable areas were all met. So we really did our due diligence for looking at both the zones on this. So based on those considerations and the review from other staff members, we recommend that the City Council approve the proposed zoning map amendment contingent upon the approval of the final subdivision plat.
Thank you, Susie.
Yeah.
Council, it's time for your questions from her. You'll have a chance later if anything comes up too, but do you have any initial questions?
Sydney, just
Yeah.
to clarify, your last sentence I think is the most important one, that this is contingent on the subdivision plat approval, because the parcel that's shown here is the overall parcel, and they're really only seeking the rezone for a portion of that parcel as it's subdivided.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a tricky process because it's a minor subdivision. So typically what we would see is that if it was like a preliminary or a final subdivision, it would come almost concurrently.
Right, at the same meeting, right? One
Yep.
after the other as agenda items?
Yep. So actually they're going to the DRC meeting this coming Monday for the final compliance comments. So it's it's pretty much there, almost a bow.
But we don't, in our packet, do we have what that proposed subdivision looks like? I couldn't, yeah, there it is, Exhibit H.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Access to the back lot, lot number
2.
1,
Lot
is
number
lot 2
one.
the back lot?
Lot number one's a back lot.
The eastern lot?
Yes.
Okay, and the lot 2 is the front part of that. That's the one we would be looking at rezoning to
RL.
RL.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at lot 2. Now, does that have access on
Easement.
the east side from the frontage road? Does it also have access from the
Cul-de-sac,
cul-de-sac?
because the Millets own a small point,
Is that what it
a
is?
small portion that fronts the cul-de-sac,
Okay.
based off of the county.
So will there be any access off the frontage road?
No,
for-
so they closed off the access to frontage road. That was actually a item that was pretty important for the subdivision to be complete. There was a plat amendment in the Summer Hill Lane subdivision, I think back in like 2023, and one of the contingencies to, if they ever wanted to subdivide again, was that the frontage road access would be abandoned, and then the only access off of to their lot would be to the through the cul-de-sac.
I see,
Yeah.
I see that now. So they'll have access for both lot and lot 2 from that one point in the back of the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody representing Robert Millet here? You want to speak as the applicant? Yeah. Come on up. Just identify yourself, where you're from.
I am Quinn Millet, not Robert Millet. Robert's traveling for work, so I'm here to answer any questions if I can.
No comments you want to make or anything?
I mean, I support this. he always intended to subdivide it. That's why his home was built in the middle. You know, he knew that eventually development would come, and it's come, and he's moving forward with the subdivision.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Millet at all? Right now, staff? Okay. Are we ready to go to a public hearing then? Let's do that and see if we have any further questions off that. So we'll go to a public hearing regarding the zoning map amended on the Millet property on 2138 North Frontage Road from agricultural low to residential low. That public hearing is now open. You can take a seat in case everybody does come forward, Mr. Millet. So that, for those that may want to comment, please come up and state your name and where you're from. I don't see anybody online either that may comment. Do you, Jennifer?
I mean, we've got Abe Millet online, I don't know if
Oh, yes, we do.
mute and comment.
He's not unmuting, so I don't know that he wants to comment, but, Abe, did you want to comment?
No, no comment. Thanks, though.
Okay. Seeing, no public hearing comments, I will close that public hearing, and we will go back to, if there is any further questions from council to staff or to the applicant, the applicant's brother, right? So, any further questions on it?
Just as a reminder for the council, what is our minimum lot size for a agricultural property? Or is there a minimum lot size at all on a subdivision?
Mike, you want to come up? It's a good question.
Agricultural low is half acre, 0.5.
Perfect. And, yeah, so they meet that requirement of 0.65. I assume they met the requirement because
Yeah.
we're here, but.
And just a point of clarification on subdivision, this will follow the minor subdivision process as well. So it would not come to city council, it will go through the administrative review process.
Okay, seems to be quiet, no further questions, so I'm looking for a motion on ordinance 2025-12.
I move that we approve ordinance 2025-12 for a zoning map amendment request from agricultural low to residential low zoning contingent upon approval of the Millet Minor subdivision final plat establishing proposed lot 2.
Do we need to add the findings for action,
With-
Lisa?
Do we need findings?
Yeah,
With
1 through 3.
findings 1 through 3.
Second.
Motion is second, further discussion? Let's vote, Councilman Meekum.
Aye.
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 That motion passes 4-0, thank you. All right, let's go to the public hearing conceptual site plan PDO for Borderline Estates, 522 West, 400 South. Sydney again?
Yes.
Come on up, Sydney.
Both applicants are here tonight. Greg Larson and Troy are seeking to approve the Porter Lane Estates conceptual site plan. This is step 1 of the next agenda item, which is the zoning map amendment for the PDO overlay for this property. The property is located at 522 West, 400 South, and is 1.4 acre site that is currently zoned residential medium. This proposed to be developed into 6 single-family lots under the RM PDO rezone. And I think it's just an important clarification that this current zone allows for the density that they are proposing. So density is not being increased. It's more so just the configuration of the actual subdivision lots and the flexibility that's allowed. So the criteria that they are requesting variance from the development standards include the minimum lot size, the minimum frontage, the front yard setbacks, the buildable minimum area, a private drive with no sidewalks, no irrigation plan submitted at the time of subdivision. Some additional concerns that were brought forward from the Planning Commission were the parking situation, fire access, as well as snow storage areas. However, all of these concerns were addressed during the discussion, as well as them looking at weighing out the balance between the requests for variations from the development standards and the offset of what they are providing. The community members who did attend during the public session had questions during the public hearing and were able to be satisfied, dare I say, actually happy for this development. So following this discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously once again to move forward with recommendations to approve to City Council with conditions provided in the packet for this subdivision, or the site plan, sorry, not subdivision, site plan.
Thanks, Sydney.
Yeah,
Questions for her?
I have a couple of questions.
Go for it.
I know when I think it's the Walton. Porter Walton Townhomes. When they went in, the city, I wasn't even on at that point in time, were very sad that they allowed as smaller roads as they did, and I know that afterwards they increased the size of the roads. And there was also a lot of complaints about, I believe there was only sidewalks on one side and not the other. So I'm concerned, are we not going to have any sidewalks, and are the roads going to be the width that they changed it to, so that we're not going to have narrow roads?
yeah, I think that's a valid concern. I would say that we are meeting the city's minimum width standards for roads. They are requesting a variation from the development code to not have any sidewalks installed. My thinking is that with how few homes there are in this development, how people drive in small communities, is a sidewalk necessarily needed? As a planner, I would see 6 homes maybe using the road until they get out to the sidewalk. It seems like they would be a lot safer driving during those. And then there's also not going to be any parking now permitted on that. So there is going to be a good amount of space that is allocated on the streets. But if you have any other questions outside of what I just answered, maybe the applicant would be better to kind of explain the design.
I would be very concerned with no sidewalks, because I know that with Port Walton, they had people come in and complain afterwards. And that's why the city changed that and definitely wanted every new development to have sidewalks on both sides of the road. And with no sidewalks, you've got all the little kids and everybody walking into the middle of the road. I mean, yes, people probably aren't going to be speeding down there at 40 miles an hour, but to me, you still need sidewalks for kids to go from one house to the next, to the neighbors. I would think these are small starter homes, which I'm thrilled to see coming to Centerville, but I would want a safe passage for the people to go from home to home in the neighborhood and not have to go out into the road.
Okay.
So Port Walton does have a sidewalk on one side. You might be
On one side.
You might be thinking of Centerville Commons. That
No, they
has
only have one
none.
on one side, and they changed it to where you had to have it on both sides, because we had so many complaints.
Is that what we're talking about? Okay.
It was
So-
only on one, but now our development standards say you have to have it on both. And that was changed because it was problematic. Even sidewalk on one side wasn't enough, and that's why it was changed.
What was the conclusion with I should have watched the planning commission, I apologize, with parking in here, like off-street parking or on-street parking?
So they're not going to be having any on-street parking, and there are 3 parking spaces per house. So
So that includes the driveway and the two-car garage?
it's a 2-car garage, as I understand it, and then there's like an additional optional parking pad.
Okay, and okay, so,
And some of them are 3-car garage with an RV as a third.
some of the
Which I
potential.
looked at before.
Okay.
3-car
Some of those
garages.
designs. Okay, so I'm actually I like this development a lot. I am concerned about parking when it becomes, there isn't enough within this development, where is it going to overflow to? And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of area to overflow on Porter. So that would be my main concern, but I really do like this development. I feel like that the road is wide enough for a fire truck to
Yes.
make a turn.
Yep.
Okay.
So it would be a pull in and pull out situation, but the fire department was part of these discussions and has approved this.
Okay.
Greg or Troy or both, you want to, as applicants, say anything? Maybe if there's some of these questions haven't been answered, you could address them for us.
Can you put that, the one that you have shown right there, can you put that up on the screen?
You state, just for Janice's purposes, your name.
Greg M. Larson
Okay, thank you.
and my partner Troy Hulser.
Great.
So when you look at this, when you're concerned about sidewalks, basically all of the driveways come right to the, and it's like, there's not much left. I mean, if they even want to walk from driveway to driveway, they're welcome to do that. That's not a problem. Now, one of the things that we did in the beginning of this project is we evaluated all the different options. That's kind of my philosophy in design. And I have a little bit of an advantage over some developers in that my business is architectural design and land planning. And so what I did was I created several different concepts and went in and met with Sydney, and she had a lot of input as to what would be best. And we looked at sixplexes, at duplexes, at different arrangements for, and this is what she liked the best and Mike Eckert liked the best. And as we met with the DRC, this is what they all like the best. And so with each of these homes, they all have 20-foot front yards, 20-foot backyards. They have 8 and 10-foot side yards. And even though they're small lots, I created a plan where it's like I designed the homes at the same time as I designed the subdivision so that they all work. And so every one of these homes have a 3-car garage. 4 of the units have a 3.5-car garage, or almost an RV garage. Because everybody's got a side-by-side or a motorcycle or something that they want to put. And so that each one of them has 3 parking stalls in front of the garage, plus an additional parking stall to the side of their house for guests. And so that's how we kind of took care of everything. We had input from some of the people around the corner that were concerned about parking, and so it was decided at that time, and we have that incorporated in the final plans that we put together, that there would be a couple of no parking stall signs, because we don't want anybody parking on the streets either. And so they'll all be parking, on those, if they have to park outside of the subdivision, they can go out on Porter Lane. But otherwise, there'll be no parking on that private street. And so I think that kind of answers a little, as you look at the plan, that kind of answers your concern about the walkway area. And the streets are 28 feet, not 24 feet. I think that Porter Walton that you mentioned is either 22 or 24 feet. And so this widens it out and just makes it more comfortable.
So how big are these 2-story homes? How big of homes are going to be on these lots?
The homes actually are going to range for between 35 and 4,500 square feet.
So they're good sized
These
homes.
are $800,000 to $1 million homes. These aren't little tiny starter homes.
They're not affordable?
They're homes that we initially were hoping to put basements under all of them. city engineer had determined that the height that we could put that in had to do with the drainage into the culvert box. And so we can only go 18 inches to 2 feet into the ground. So what we've decided is that the first two lots would be slab on grade. And the next two, because the road is actually sloping up, and so when you get to the back lot, or the second lots, they could actually go into the ground about 3 feet. They still may do slab on grade. The back two lots very likely would do a basement, possibly, and, but that'll kind of be determined by buyers, and, because each home is gonna be custom designed. We've got variations in the design plan of several different design concepts. They're all kind of modern, contemporary stuff. And so, does that answer that question? Okay.
Thank you.
That's private road coming in that's a private road coming in that you guys are gonna have to take care of, cleaning in the winter?
Yep, the association will take care of that.
Want to make sure that the mayor didn't have to come down and shovel in the rain. So that's good to know.
And then it's on record when people buy it. Not that they won't have it on their title.
So answer questions if more, Greg? Is that it?
We have any
Right now.
restrictions of parking on the driveway?
What's that?
We have any restrictions in the CCNRs with parking on the driveway?
The only
Overnight?
restriction that we have on our CCRs is that if they have an extra vehicle that's gonna be parked there, or a trailer, or something, it has to be behind the house. They can
Okay.
park there for a few hours or half a day or whatever, but it has to be parked on that little space behind the house.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go to a public hearing if, no other questions right now. Okay. So this is a public hearing for the conceptual site plan PDO for the Porter Lane Estates at 522 West, 400 South. If you're inclined to comment, just state your name and where you're from. That public hearing is now open. Seeing no comments, we will close the public hearing. And during that time, council, any more questions for the applicant or
I'd just like
staff?
to thank Sydney and Mike for helping our applicants here with this really, this is really, I think, the ideal development for this particular space. Thank you.
Okay. And I guess I'm looking for a motion on this. If there's no further questions.
Let's see.
I will make a motion to approve the proposed conceptual site plan for the property located at 522 West 400 South, contingent on conditions 1 through 5 and the staff report for reasons 1 through 5.
Second.
Motion is second, further discussion? Okay, Councilman Summers to the right.
Aye.
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 That motion passes 4-0. Next public hearing matter, this relates to the property at the same location, 522 West, 400 South. This is a public hearing regarding for a plan development overlay, residential medium to residential medium with plan development overlay. Any comments from staff or applicant on this before I go to a public hearing on this? Okay, so I will open the public hearing for the zoning map amendment for a PDO for Porter Lane Estates, going from residential medium to residential medium with the plan development overlay. If you're so inclined to comment, state your name and where you're from. Seeing no one in the audience or online that is going to comment, we'll close that public hearing, and we will go to, if there's any questions of staff, or nothing was said, so I don't know if the staff or applicant, or if council, if you want to make a motion on that.
I will make a motion, since I'm in a motion.
This is an ordinance on this one.
Yeah, make a motion to approve the proposed zoning map amendment for a PDO to be applied to the property located at 522 West, 400 South, from residential medium to residential medium planned development overlay zoning with findings 1 through 9 in the staff report.
Did you state the ordinance?
Did I state the ordinance? Do I have to ordinance and to approve ordinance number 2025-13?
Thank you.
Sorry, that one was not in the proposed motion there, my friends.
We got a second to that?
Second.
We got a second, further discussion? Councilwoman Haven, going to my right.
Aye.
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 That motion passed unanimously. Thank you, staff, for your work on that. Thank you, applicants. I noticed when you were making a comment that you brought up 3 names within our city, and that you guys were willing to work together and come to something that everybody was happy with. So it sounds like it went as smooth as possible. Nothing's ever totally smooth. So.
We'll say it was not just the planning department. Lisa, as well as the public works and the engineer, has really stepped up with this project, so.
Yes, for sure. Whole staff, thank you. All right. Let's go to number 4. This is a little discussion thank you. This is a little discussion we're going to have on authorizing the RAP tax ballot question. Lisa, do you want to address that, or is there somebody else you want to? Jennifer? Or do you just want us to ask questions on it?
I could talk about it a little bit. Basically, this is just the resolution for the council to basically initiate the process for the RAP tax, approving the ballot question that will go on the ballot in this general election. The language that we have prepared on this resolution is the same as the language as was on the 2015 ballot. And we did send out a little bit of information about the statutory requirements and kind of the stiffness for what is allowed to be in that language. There are like a few terms and options and things that we can add or take away in what that RAP tax can be used for, but some of those things aren't really applicable to our city, like a botanical center, facility or whatever. So we didn't include those on there, so we just kind of left it the same as it's been. I suppose it is up for discussion if you do want to change anything, but this is what we've proposed. Yeah.
I have two questions before I get into the language. Number one, I know that we couldn't do this if the county was going to do a RAP tax. Did they decide that they weren't going to do one?
Correct.
Okay.
So we do have a resolution from the county stating that they are not doing a RAP tax, so we are allowed to do a RAP tax.
Just want to make sure that that was clear with everybody, okay? And the second thing is, oh, yeah, I know what the second thing was. We did ask last time, we have some general ideas of what we may want to use this RAP tax for, but might be helpful council members asking questions and those running for office as well too, to have some answers to what we may see that we may need for the RAP tax that we come up with. I mean, Brant and I talked about it, but is there any council, you guys have any idea where it's going for, or would you like that information?
So part of that, I sent an email to council about the language, because I was under the impression that we were reviewing more like substantive language, and maybe that Gina and I were assigned to, but I think that might be our support narrative of what will come in the future. So I guess
Yes.
that's where I got confused on the assignment. I wasn't, like when you're assigned a task that you're dictated to do, it's like, oh, thanks, check that box.
Yeah,
Like, we
so
can't
I
really
think what
provide
you're
substantive input.
A little later in the process, the council has the opportunity to write a for argument
Correct, and
for
I think
the
that's what we
RAP
were
tax.
being
Yes.
assigned for in the future, is that right, Mary?
Yeah, I
Okay.
should have answered that.
And that's, yeah,
I was
that's
a
a
little
month or
confused
so.
myself,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And we, yeah.
So I'm just kind of looking for that at that point, and I think that's gonna be that language that we wanna make
Yes.
sure aligns with what our true intent to use the RAP tax
Sure.
money for.
So back to how this is a very simple way to ask it. Any questions on the language here, what's being asked?
I think it's good to maintain, if the tax is going to remain relatively the same as it has been, then let's continue the same language that was used to pass it. It makes sense to me to do that.
Okay, you also had a timeline in your ballot, it's gonna be on the ballot, timeline in your information as when this is coming forth too. So if there's nothing else on that, it is a.
Can I ask
Go
a
ahead.
clarifying question, Mayor? I didn't mean to cut you off. The language says for recreational facilities and cultural facilities and organizations. There's no comma separating any of those. Is that intended to be three things? Recreational facilities, cultural facilities, and organizations is the third piece? Yes? Okay.
So are we obligated then to do and?
Well, I'm just thinking for purposes of, I'm an Oxford comma gal, so I would be doing for recreational facilities, comma, cultural facilities, comma, and organizations to make it clear it's three things.
Oh, sorry, no, if it's cultural, sorry, no,
It's just supposed to be for facilities, right?
right, so, yes, the recreational facilities, but cultural, so the RAP tax can be used to fund certain things for facilities, like, you know, recreational facilities, but only limited uses for ongoing issues, and so that's why the,
I guess the organizations piece is the one that threw me, right? Because I get
The
recreational
ambiguity of it?
facilities. Yes, it's
Yeah.
ambiguous to me. Recreational facilities, cultural facilities, and organizations. Like, I guess I'm wondering what that.
Define what organizations is?
Yeah, what does that, that's why I was asking. I thought it was just supposed to be for facilities, not for.
And does the RAP tax statute govern that, I guess?
well,
Maybe
you can use the RAP
broadly.
tax to finance cultural facilities, recreational facilities, and zoological facilities within the city. We left out zoological facilities because we don't have any and we're not planning to have any. You can also use the RAP tax to finance ongoing operating expenses.
Is that
Ongoing
what
operating
organization
expenses
is?
of recreational facilities within the city. And to finance ongoing operating expenses of botanical organizations, cultural organizations, and zoological organizations within the city. So I'm still trying to pull up the resolution. I don't, oh. here.
So I'm just,
Shall-
I'm not trying
Used for
to,
recreational facilities and cultural
Cultural
facilities.
I'm just
facilities
wondering
and
what the difference is between a cultural
Yeah, so I think
facility and a cultural organization, or is that intended to be one term?
It's one, yeah, we can say recreational facilities, comma, cultural facilities, comma, and cultural organizations.
Okay.
Is really what it means.
I just.
I think that would be more clear to
Yes.
the reader that's voting on it. Just, I agree with you, the Oxford comma seems to
Because
be.
you could have somebody, though our intent is certainly not this, say, well, what kind of they can just
Yeah.
spend it on any organization they want, that's too much broad authority, and I would appreciate that if I was
Yes,
confronted by a citizen that said, wait, are you guys just gonna use this for anything you want?
So cultural facility does mean any publicly owned or operated museum or cultural arts facility.
So the
Cultural-
definitions are within the RAP tax, probably
Yeah, but the
statute.
problem with cultural organization is it has to be a private nonprofit organization. We don't really qualify for that, but
So do we eliminate that then?
And just say,
I would just leave it the way you did it last time, but, if you want those commas and extra words, that's probably what I would.
I,
No, less words.
I mean, I'm fine if you're fine with it, it was just.
I mean, I don't wanna limit any, cause whatever you put in here, this is what you're
Yeah,
limited
you're
to.
limited by.
All right, I still think that it's ambiguous, but if it worked last time, maybe if it's not.
No, I mean,
protected,
it's fine to say recreational facilities, comma, and cultural facilities, comma, and cultural organizations, to make it clear.
to make it clear.
I would be comfortable with that change.
I'm happy to make a motion, and then
Go
if there's
ahead.
more discussion, we can have that, but, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-13 to submit a ballot question to residents regarding the reauthorization and imposition of local sales tax and use tax of 1/10 of 1% on certain qualifying transactions within the city to fund, the following items, and this language would be reflected and, modified in the, proposition saying for recreational facilities, comma, cultural facilities, comma, and cultural organizations for the city.
I will second it with it noted for the record that I got 3 council members on board with the Oxford comment.
5 on board.
Okay, so we have a motion, second, further discussion. Councilwoman Hurst going to the right.
Aye.
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 Thank you. All right, let's go to item number 5. This is a computer network service agreement with TecServ. Lisa Bednarz or Lisa Romney, do you have anything on it?
Yeah, I thought the other Lisa was going to be here.
Cool, put poor Lisa on the
Happy,
spot.
happy to do it, but let me find.
She
the
just
staff
texted
report.
Bryce. Bryce is talking. Oh, okay.
Okay, well, this is just to continue on the services that we're receiving from TecServ. My understanding is that we are reducing the hours that they will be working here to 8 hours a week. And so that reduces, you know, costs, but they are increasing their costs. My understanding was they were increasing their cost by 5%, but Bryce was telling me about some last-minute changes that they had. So I would probably say approve it, subject to, you know, the city attorney working things out, but the concept is 8 hours a week, reducing the hours to 8 hours a week, and allowing for a 5% increase.
What are we reducing from? We're going from 10 to 8. Do we feel like that's a sufficient amount of time? They're getting,
Lisa did send an email with the background. Let me see. That has more information.
This is a continuation of a contract.
Yes.
Correct.
So it says the only change from the previous year is $5 per hour increase, changing their monthly rate. And in addition to the 8 hours a week, we have 40 hours banked for emergency or larger projects. We have the option to adjust the amount of hours if it's determined at a later date that we need more than 8 hours a week. So yeah, we do have, there is a provision in here that, you know, you can have more.
So
It's just an hourly
a
rate.
motion probably shouldn't bind staff in terms of hours, it sounds like.
True. Yeah.
And it's a $5 increase or a 5% increase?
5%.
I thought you said $5.
No, 5%.
From
No, I think
150
Just
to
read
155.
$5. That's
Yeah,
what
so
I
with
missed.
155, it's going to 160, and then it's saying it's a 5% increase,
Gotcha.
is the way I read it.
That's not
it is 155 or it's going to be?
Going to be 160,
From 155.
from 155.
But that
155
doesn't represent
to
5%, sorry, math nerding.
But if they're saying the annual renewal will be 5%.
Is
Oh,
this
the
under
next
our
annual
budget?
renewal.
Yes, this is in the budget.
Okay, the next annual renewal is at 5%.
Yes, the way I read it was the next,
Okay.
right?
Well, you may be comparing
I must be
their
thinking some-
last-minute changes, not necessarily to the contract we have in place right now, but I don't have access to that one right now, so. I thought it was 16 hours and 5%. We want to hire them for 8 hours a week
Yes,
for the price in the contract. Which still seems reasonable.
right, which is
It does
within
seem
budget.
reasonable.
Do we have them, is that 52 weeks a year?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And
we
we're
have,
within
we have
budget
that
on it?
reserve as well. I mean, we have some hours banked for in case there's a emergency. So
So if you don't need them, let's just say this week you don't need them for 8 hours, you bank some of the
we
hours?
bank some of the hours, yeah.
Okay.
How much does he allow you to bank?
I don't know that, I couldn't answer.
She did say that we have 40 hours banked for emergencies.
So I don't know, I can find out.
I do like that you can bank some hours, just because there are probably weeks when you need
Your
more help
Nancy, you wanna say
with that
something?
than others.
Come
Are
up
there
here.
other companies that are out there that you've looked into?
We have not done an RFP for other companies, this is just who we've continually used.
This is a fairly newish, I mean, I think we're in our second year,
I think it's only
Robin,
second or
Gina?
third, yeah, second
Where
year.
we transitioned from a group that was, this was a much better flexible option where we had actual better support for us.
Yeah, they've been helping us, and they helped us upgrade our network. So I was able to find the 2023 contract. Jennifer and I could not find the 2024 contract, but the 2023 contract was for $10,700 per month. So we're significantly reducing that to the
Yeah,
5.5 or 5.3 that's in the contract. And in 2023, they were working 16 hours a week, and they are going down to 8 hours. So we're cutting their hours in half, which essentially cuts it to half of 10,700 with a 5% raise, increase in cost. But, yeah, I think I can say it's very helpful to have them, and it's nice to have backup, and the chief's probably gonna say this, but when they're here, I can go over there and say, hey, I'm having trouble with my email, or I've asked them a number of questions, with, work-related, and it's been very helpful to have them on site.
Yeah,
Don't be
absolutely.
shocked, they even had to help me once.
Yeah,
So it sounds like they're pretty, like, available, when they're coming, and
Well, yeah, they're
like
just in
they're
the
open to
conference room
helping staff and.
outside our
Okay.
office.
Right, yeah.
In addition to helping Lisa with any things that she's like, hey, there's an issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it takes a team for IT, and it's really nice to have this back.
Well, I think it's nice to have that expertise, just because you can't be an expert in every single,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's great.
I think as long as we're going to maintain an IT department of one, we will have to have another set of eyes on our IT. Not that, because Lisa's great, but she is only one person. And it's great to have multiple people looking at the same problem. And so I mostly wanted to come up and make sure that there wasn't any serious opposition to re-signing with the company. They have great awareness and familiarity with our system. So if we were to change companies, there would be a big learning curve to train up a new company. And this company does kind of specialize in our kind of a department, like our city, like the size, the scope of it, and the network capabilities. So just about every problem we've had, they've already seen in another similar municipality.
We also have access to their bulk pricing. So when we go for licensing or software, since they work with so many organizations, we see a discount on some of our product, which has been great.
That's good.
I'm happy to make a motion, but just to clarify, Lisa, what language are you most comfortable with, given the status where we're at with the contract?
I would say just approve the contract with TecServ, subject to clarification of the terms, with the city attorney.
Okay, perfect. I'll make a motion that we approve the TecServ Computer Network Services Agreement for computer network maintenance, remote monitoring, and technical consulting services, subject to final review and approval by the city attorney.
Second.
Motion is second. Let's vote. Councilman Plummer.
Aye.
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 Hey, thank you. That motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Team effort there, Chief, Bryce, Lisa. All right, let's get Bruce involved tonight, should we? Bruce, you want to talk about your truck? Or do you just want him to approve it since it's on the summary action calendar?
Replacing a sprinkler truck. It's
Sorry, Bruce Cox, Centerville City resident and Parks and Rec director. We're replacing a sprinkler truck. It's 2011, 14 years old. It's on state contract through Ken Garf, American Fork. They have one that had been ordered and already had on the lot ready to go. Slightly over what we budgeted, but I'll make up the difference in not replacing one of our snow blowers this year.
And when I went over the agenda with Brent, he said that Bruce came up with that 4,153.46 on your own. So that's why I wanted to give you a chance to come on up. So that's your summary action calendar item. Any other questions for Bruce on that? All right, motion on summary action calendar then.
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of the 2025 Silverado 2500 HD regular cab with service body for $58,153.46.
Second.
Motion and second. Robin, you want to start the voting?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That passed unanimously, thank you. Let's go to the minutes review and approval of July 15th work session, July 15th city council, and July 15th closed session. Any questions or changes on those minutes? If not, a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the work session, city council, and the closed session from July 15th, 2025.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passed unanimously. Look at that, Nate. It seems like it's been a while since we've had an opportunity to have you report on a quarter end. This is actually a year end. So we get, I was talking with Nate today when I was in the office, and he's in his busy season. He gets the opportunity to have the auditors come in, and we'll have that to present to you in a bit, and other things. So Nate, you want to give us some highlights on the June 30th financials?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'll try to do this without coughing as well, so my apologies. As Mayor mentioned, this is the kind of an informal year end. We still have some changes and some adjustments that we'll be making as we prepare for this upcoming audit. So these numbers, not all of them will stay the same, but it gives us a pretty good idea of where we ended the year at. So starting on this page, just a couple items to note. If you recall to the last budget amendment that we did in fiscal year 25, that included an extra transfer from the RAP tax funds to the park fund. So we were authorized 500,000, but we just did 250,000 for right now. If we see more invoices coming in, we may need to increase that, but for now that transfer was 250,000. And then you'll also notice that the Utopia cash balance is zero. We didn't get the rebate check from Utopia until July. It was kind of sent there right at the last week of the month, and I was out of town at a conference, so it got missed. And anyway, we didn't get it till July, so we had to do a one-day due from loan to get that cash balance up to zero. But you'll see the cash jump up again in July. All right, we can skip a couple pages. Let's look at the general fund. Starting with our sales tax, you'll see that we came in at just over 5.6 million, which is slightly lower than last year. However, it did exceed our budgeted amount of 5.5 million, so that's good. You'll see that our total revenues for the year, again, we're slightly lower than last year, the 13.1 million. But if you notice there on the right-hand side, we hit 100% of our budgeted revenue. So we actually exceeded it by just shy of $1,500. So yeah, so our total revenues for the general fund was right where we needed them to be.
So you're saying you predicted really well?
Yeah, not every account you can see was predicted perfectly, but
overall,
1490.
But overall,
that's pretty good.
that's pretty
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, we'll take it. So looking at the general fund expenses, you can see that we spent 12.1 million, which was only 92% of our budgeted expenditures, which gave us a net income of just shy of $1 million. Okay, going on to the RDA fund, just a quick note that the net income for that fund was just over $1 million. That's something that we need to look at in the future of how we want to spend those RDA funds. So that's one of my goals for this year, is to really nail down the RDA funding stuff. So that will be coming to you sometime somewhat soon. Going on to the recreation fund, we can see that we had a net income of $14,000, which is great for the rec fund. It's probably the best this fund has done in a few years, so I was pleased to see that we not only covered our costs, but exceeded it by a little bit. The RAP tax fund, again, we got just a hair lower than we received a hair lower than we did last year, at $570,000. You'll see on the expense side that those are, all the expenses in this funds are the transfers to the parks, to the Whitaker, and to the theater. And as I mentioned before, that we had transferred, our final transfer that we did was $250,000 to the parks fund, and we may transfer a little bit more depending on how it plays out. All right, the cemetery perpetual care fund, I just wanted to note that this is one of the entries that is part of our year-end process that we haven't made yet. Typically, we transfer 80% of what we receive into the general fund to cover the costs. So assuming that this $20,000 holds true, our transfer to the general fund will be about $16,700, which I'll note we spend probably over $100,000 to maintain the cemetery, so it's definitely not covering our costs, but it does help offset it a little bit. Going on to the Parks Fund, we did receive the, I think Bruce reported on this a little bit ago, but we did receive the funds for the pickleball and the playground equipment, the grant. So thanks, Bruce, for taking care of that. You'll see the net loss there of the $522,000, but if you look at that final revenue line, we were expecting to use $585,000 of fund balance. So we still had a little bit of extra there. All right, and then we'll go skip down to the transportation fund. Again, a small net loss there at $77,000, but we were expecting to use almost $150,000 of fund balance, and our expenditures came in nearly right on point. So we're still looking good in that fund. The Utopia Fund, as I mentioned, that we received the revenue, so you do see the revenue for the rebate check there, but the cash came into the next fiscal year. All right, going on to water. You can see that operationally we're doing well as far as revenues and expenditures go. And we did end with $554,000 of net income in that fund. I do want to note that on that line 32, the charges for services for $355,000, the majority of that is developer contributions for the water lines that developers are putting in. So that does affect that total net income. It does kind of skew it a little bit when you're looking at it this way. But still, at the end of the day, the water fund came in the net positive, so that's great. Sanitation, we have the net income of $121,000. A big part of this was that Wasatch Integrated Waste Recycling rebate that we started receiving mid-year, and that's giving us over $6,000 a month. So that's really beneficial for that fund. Helps it so that we help slow down our rate increases despite the increase for expenditures that we've seen. Going on to the drainage fund, we have the net income of 520,000. Drainage was as we know, an odd year. We didn't implement the rate increase when we thought we would when we were budgeting, but we also had the drainage audit. So anyway, we ended the year well, and as far as the audit goes, hopefully you've seen our weekly updates, but we're down to just 2 accounts remaining with one of those in the appeal process, and we're still trying to work with the other. So we're glad to start seeing the light at the end of that tunnel. But anyway, that's all I have prepared. I think overall we're in a healthy spot for the year. And yeah, I'm pleased with where we're at overall. Are there any questions I can answer?
Just based on what you're seeing now at the end of the year, with our budget planning, I know you make some projections on revenue. Are you feeling comfortable with what decisions we made for fiscal year 26?
Yeah, I am. So obviously the big revenue source is the sales tax, where we came in at 5.6 million. So this year we left our revenue at 5.5. However, we do have the Young Power Sports RDA agreement, so we're going to be shipping some of that out. I expected that to be around 180,000. So it's going to put us close, probably closer to budget this year, but I'm still feeling pretty good about it.
Okay. That's been something I've been curious about over the last year, because it seems like some months we just dipped a little lower than we thought, and so.
Yeah, sales tax has been really hard to get a grasp on. Some months were way lower, and then other months were higher, and so it's pretty unpredictable. Yeah, it's tough.
My son recently, this is kind of along this topic, but my son recently moved to another city in Utah, and it was really interesting. He had gotten their budget and opened it up and looked at it, and I just want to say how grateful I am to our staff in the way that they keep a balanced budget. It was, I won't say that much about it because it's another city and they do what they want, and I don't understand their situation exactly, but I was just grateful for the absolute attention to detail from our staff, so thank you very much.
Yeah, we have a great staff here. They do a great job.
I'll echo that as a budget nerd, so.
Well, thank you both.
Thanks, Nate. No other questions for Nate? Thank you, Nate, for that presentation. So when does the audit start?
So we've started. We've been sending things to them, to the auditors, but they will be on site, I think, the second week of September. Maybe it's the third week, mid-September.
You bring up a good point. I can't remember, conceptually, we've talked about every 2 or 3 years you go kind of RFP or go through a new auditor process, or where are we at in that cycle? I guess number one, is that first statement correct? And number two, that question still stands.
I'm trying to remember because we did an extension with them that I want to say put us through 2029.
We had 5 years or something.
Yeah, it was a 5 or 6 year.
To get a reduced amount. If I remember being on the audit committee, you're on that with me and Brent and Matt Layton. Yeah.
So we're contracted through fiscal year 28.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to council report tonight. It's Councilwoman Gina Hurst.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'll just quickly report on my entities that I follow along with. Parks and Recreation is meeting next Tuesday, and they'll be working on updating the plan for the parks. They're taking the old report and just kind of going through it, maybe reprioritizing, and then they'll make some recommendations to the city council. The sewer upgrades for the north plant are continuing. They look really good. It's coming along. If you drive along on Legacy Highway, you'd have a hard time missing that project. We did tour last month, or I guess it was in July. We toured the new administration building. They decided to construct a new, much-needed office. I'm not sure there is a government agency who maybe was in more need of a new office, but not because it was decided that they had to drill under the office, the existing one, to upgrade the plant, and there was a lot of concerns with the aging building, and so that decision was made, and we were able to tour that, and it's a nice facility, and I think will serve them a lot better. At the current time, they can't put all of their employees in any room in the current building to have a meeting or do anything, so that's the most recent thing with South Davis Sewer District. And then lastly, Dual Creek, they're running along with, I don't have anything really to report on that. We'll have probably a little bit more towards fall as they get ready to shut things down. The other item I wanted to talk about is Lisa graciously provided these budget work session topics, and I hope I got them all in here, but I've got 24, 25, and 26. I'll pass them down in just a minute. Some of them have been completed. These are things that have been talked about in our budget sessions, and then some of them we've completed and some we haven't. I would like to ask if it would be possible if we could maybe have a work session where we discuss some of these that are not completed, and then maybe prioritize them in an effort to help staff to know which ones to tackle first. It's, I think, sometimes hard for them to know, depending on who's calling, the priorities change. So I just thought maybe if we had a work session together and discuss that would help our staff to be able to, and then they can kind of weigh in too. Like if we want an ordinance written and we want something else done, Mike probably can't do both of them at the same time. So can we, kind of work through that? So he's working on one project and maybe somebody else is doing something else.
Thanks, Gina. I think that's something we need.
Okay, these are all, Lisa provided these, so I'm gonna send 20, I only printed enough for council, sorry. I know Lisa has it, so. There's 24, and, whoops, this one's got 2 pages, there's 25. And I may not have grabbed 26 off of the, I'm sorry. I missed 26. I'll send you 26. Make sure I didn't print
There's
it.
2 pages.
Yes,
here at
25 has 2.
As I pass it down.
Anyway, I just thought we could look at that together, and I thought it might be helpful if we saw what we talked about in the last couple of years and think through it. Would that be all right, Mayor?
It would.
Hopefully pat ourselves on the back that we've accomplished
done?
something
We're
along the way.
yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm hoping we can check some off for sure, but also, what might be a priority to me might be not as high to somebody else, and I think we ought to try and come together on that. I appreciated that when we used to do that for Planning Commission, and so, that might be mine. Okay.
I like that.
But I'll send you 26 through email. I apologize.
So, any questions for Councilwoman Hurst? So, thank you for that report. I would what she finished with, I'll just leave mine off because that was part of my report as work too. What she's provided for you here is obviously, like she said, things that came up during our budget work sessions. I want to make the invitation to council members to call me at any time with items that you would like to see that could benefit our residents or that they need that we can get on agendas. What she's talking about here, Councilwoman Hurst, is obviously some of these we'll prioritize, but I want to make sure that as a council that we are addressing some of the things that you might be come across in residents' minds. So please, y'all have my number. Call me. We'll try and prioritize items, and we'll try and get things on the agenda, help staff out with some things that you would like to see on the agenda as well too for city council meetings. I remember a year, 2 years back after a particular council meeting, I went to Brent the next day and I says, that was a good council meeting last night, but I cannot believe how prosperous we are in our society now, that the 2 or 3 topics that we had on council meeting, that we really had to discuss those. You know, I go back to when I was a kid, and I'm not that old, but I'm probably older than everybody on the rostrum here. I remember hard times in the 70s as a teenager with the energy crisis and gas lines and for cars, and tough to get gas for cars. And I remember the interest rates. Fortunately, I wasn't buying a home yet. I was only about 21 years old. It went up to 21%. And I hear people say, oh, I can't believe I got a 6% mortgage now. Yeah, let's talk about what my first mortgage was, you know. I just want to prioritize things that are important. I never want to be a doomsdayer, but I continue to work with clients that are home builders and say, this just can't last. This just can't last. I mean, there's got to be corrections. They've got to happen at some point in time, you know. And we live in a very prosperous and blessed time, and with I think a lot of boredom for some people, where we get caught up with issues in our society that aren't life and death issues that we really have to live with. So I welcome you calling me, and let's get items on the agenda that we see of high importance. I had a chance to meet since we talked last with Sergeant Mike Dingman. It was fascinating. I met with him this morning about his training for 8 weeks down in Florida. He was so excited, and some of the stuff he reported to me that he's talked with the chief about and with Lieutenant Will about, it was just amazing the learning that he received, and the things that he's trying to do with that, and that the forces as a whole is trying to do with it. I had a chance finally to ride in my parade. I rode in the Handcart Days parade, but Janie got sick again, so it was me and Bob York in the car. Bob was honking his horn while I just waved. But, so just find it, how you might find that as a funny sidebar. But and then South Davis Metro Fire Service, we met since then. Fortunately, other than the incidents we know about, all the fireworks shows that they had to go to, that things went fairly well at those fireworks shows. Had a CPT board meeting. They're in their second year under Danny Inkley, as you all know, because we did a field trip down there. There's been some expansion. There's been 2 additional shows added to the smaller stage. There's been some initial capital outlay that they're hoping to recoup, and so far on their budget plans, they're meeting them, but we hope they continue to do that. So, and then the other things I had, I want to have two staff help me out. Because, the two Mikes, will you come up? I want Mike Eggett to report for us what the status of general plan is. And also he wanted him to report on a recreation grant. And then I want our other Mike Carlson, after Mike Eggett's done, to just tell us a little bit about how our tank project's going up on the hill. Now, I know you may see these in Brant's report, but I just was thinking that these were some critical issues in my mind that I wanted to give council a chance to know where we're at on them. So, thanks, Mike.
Thank you. We just received the first rough draft of the general plan document yesterday. I will start to review that. I will send a copy over to Brant, and we will look at it for more grammatical and mechanical, but it is completed. So we'll look at it and try to massage it, any issues we see. I've worked with SOMAS before and know what their projects look like when they get a rough draft. You'll want me to review it just to make sure, not that they won't do a good job, but there's little things that they catch. It's going to be a big document, so I will go through it with a fine-tooth comb. They're usually 200 plus pages. They're big. So just give me a little bit of time to look through that and check for grammatical and mechanical things that I see. And then I'll update Brant and the mayor, and we'll see where it goes from there once we get that review. The good news on the recreation thing, it's the WFRC TLC grant, the intercommunity grant. We have been working with WFRC to pick a preferred partner to guide us on that trail, that shared access trail effort that we're doing between North Salt Lake, Bountiful, our city, and Farmington. We have selected a group to help us with that effort. When I say we, the staff planners have all gotten together. That's how WFRC does the process, and selected Kimley Horn as our preferred professional planning group that will guide us on that process. The really exciting thing about that is the chair of the North Salt Lake Trails Committee is the project manager of the project. So he has extra desire and care about the communities and how this all works for the benefit of the communities. So we felt really, really compelled when we did the review process with his presentation. It came down to two finalists. I can't remember the other finalist group. They're more transportation planners. When I say transportation, they do a lot of projects with UDOT, and their interviewing process was a little bit weaker than Kimley Horn's was. So we felt very positive about that. And then one final thing, I didn't tell the mayor this, but I was thinking about it. One thing I'll share where I have the opportunity to do so. I did send in the moderate income housing report Friday to the state of Utah Housing Department to meet that requirement annually. So it takes them up to 90 days to do their full screening of that, but then you'll get an updated report. I feel like we should pass fine. I did a lot of back and forth with the team that reviews those prior to that final submittal to make sure everything was massaged correctly and got all the right language in there to meet their expectation. So I don't see any issues with Centerville being out of compliance with that requirement. So just want to report those three things.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, thanks, Mayor.
Carlson, you up to it tonight, buddy? What's that? Are you up to reporting tonight? Sure. On the tank? This is just a labor of love for some of us who've been here forever. So.
Depends on where he's at in the bidding on his time of
I'm good.
council.
Midnight.
Yeah. Oh, no, please.
So the tank's going quite well. We had a couple concerns in the very beginning with fires on the hillside. We addressed those early. Patriots has been doing a good job. Snow Excavation is the contractor that's moving all the dirt and that. And it's going along quite well. I haven't been up there for 3 or 4 days, but last time I was up there with the hillside being so granular and the possibility of it caving in, we've now grouted the hillside. to the contractor's satisfaction, that we wanted them to be okay with what was going on. So it's moving forward. It's exciting after how long? You know, forever. But it is exciting to see it take place and get going. For me, that's kind of a fun thing. When we built Parish Reservoir, that was exciting to watch that take place and to see how it's done. With that, I would like to maybe, extend an invitation. I'm thinking, maybe once a month offering a tour before the work session, taking those who would be interested in going up and looking at it. Me and Dave and Kevin could take you up and walk the site for a few minutes and then have you back in time for the work session. So I see everybody nodding, so I think you'll be okay with that one. So I'll shoot out an email on that. It's not a mandatory thing, but it's required. So anyway, anyhow, it is fun. I mean, it's exciting to see something take place. And, for me, it's gratification that we are saving our taxpayers some money. That's the neatest thing about the whole thing. That when I've been into that green steel tank and seeing the holes, this is the famous pocket knife that sat next to the hole that helped us to get the grant. And to think about where we would be at if we wasn't moving forward with that. We would be trying to fund that all on our own. And so it's exciting to me. Anyhow, I do want to give you, I'll start off with Kevin probably doesn't want me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So Kevin had an idea to turn in for a trails grant on Porter Lane from the frontage road to Main Street. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but we're using third quarter taxes trying to apply for that through the county to see if we can get that grant. So that'd be a neat thing. Curb and gutter, both sides of the road would be an awesome thing for the city to have that done. The county's going to be moving in, doing the box culvert on the lower part fairly quick.
That's what I was going to ask you,
At the
because
end
they've
of
been saying
August.
fairly quick for 3 years.
I know. Well, the tank's been fairly quick too, huh?
Right, okay.
But anyway,
I feel like
so.
you've asked about it before, Spencer.
So anyway, then they're gonna come in the fall, but we're hoping we can get third quarter taxes and follow that up with a trail going up that road. And I think it's gonna add a big safety issue, for our residents. I think it's huge. And it's a good space to be used for a trail, I think. So I was thankful that Kevin come up with that one and we're moving forward with it. But I'd answer any questions that you had. I got till midnight, just throwing that out. Any questions about anything that we got going on? Well, feel free to call me at any time. So I'm usually here, so whatever.
Thanks, Mike. I was gonna report on those. I talked to both the Mikes, but I thought, they're here, so I'll let them report. Chief, did you have something to report? Because you stood up all of a sudden, or you just stretching your legs?
No, Mike talked about something that I hadn't cared a lot in, but it sounds like he covered it.
Okay. So, Mike, you've saved me being on the board to review those third quarter sales tax. How that works with the 15 mayors who, whatever cities don't submit every year, the mayors who haven't submitted a project for funding are then put on the committee to go around to the whole county for a day and look at the projects and prioritize them and see which ones they're going to approve. Yeah, it's actually quite educational as you go through all the county for a whole day, and then we meet on 2 other occasions as well too. But they don't want you on that committee if your city submitted a proposal on something. So I guess I won't be doing that this year. But thanks for those reports. All right, city manager. Any questions for me?
Oh, can I make one comment with regard to the budget work session topics? So it looks like these all came from the budget session, but we had Tim Hawks and his group came and they gave us a presentation about options that our cities could adopt with regard to water conservation that I would love to see added.
Yes, and I should have said something about that. I'm glad you brought that up. That is one that I have some extra stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we've talked about franchise agreement requirements that we need to have a discussion about that and get that somewhere too.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
like maybe Lisa's striking through things that we've accomplished.
Yes, and that might be helpful to have Lisa
Sorry to
strike
add you.
through the
I don't
things.
know, maybe you've already yes, this is great fun, I can strike through stuff.
Yeah, but,
A red line version.
I think, there's some things for sure that absolutely, that were not necessarily covered in the budget session. And so I would say, like, that's why I wanted you guys to be thinking about it. So when we get here, if there's something that's not there, we can get it on the list.
Okay, thanks. All right, Brent, you with us? Do you have a city manager report?
I'll keep it short. I'll update. Lisa, Bryce, and myself attended the IRMA conference this past week. It was great. Focusing on risk management, talked a lot about insurance and how we possibly can improve how we deal with insurance with our contractors and vendors. So a lot of things we got to work on. I'll give you a deeper update next meeting. Second, I just wanted to highlight real quick when Nate said about the sanitation on the recycling, that we get this check of $6,000 in a rebate, and that's the diversion rebate. So that is our residents actually recycling. And if our tipping fees and there's this diversion rate increases, that amount increases. So again, encouraging our residents to continue to recycle, because now we're seeing a direct benefit of those recycling efforts. So the more that goes up, the better off we are. In Centerville, we actually have, due to how we set up our program, I believe we're at 97% take rate, which means most of our homes, almost all of our homes actually have a recycling bin. The question is who uses it? And the recycling is actually not as great as it could be with everybody with a blue can. So everybody's paying for it. We just need to encourage people to use it. And then, of course, that'll help keep our costs lower and our rates from increasing in the future. So anyway, I just wanted to highlight that. That's a big deal now with what Wasatch Integrated is doing for us. So other than that,
Sounds like I voted correctly on that one then, Brent.
yeah, you voted correctly on that one, Mayor. The other ones were, anyway. Yes, so other than that, I'll go into deeper when I'm in town in a couple of weeks, unless there's any questions for me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Do we have a work session, closed session tonight? Okay, I thought we did. So unless there's anything else from anybody, I'd look for a motion to go to a closed session. The reasons on your agenda, whoever wants to make that motion, not to.
I'll make a motion that we go to a closed session to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation and attorney-client matters privileged under Utah Code 78B-1-137.
Not to return to.
And not, with no intent to return to the public meeting.
Second.
Motion is second. Let's vote.
Aye.
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 Thank you.